All right, y'all, we're starting at number 12. This is the chapter 11 review. So we've already done the top half, which was about area, and we started surface area and volume, and we're going to continue that. I just got a little bit long-winded. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find this. What shape is this? This is going to be a rectangular prism. How do I know it's rectangular and not a square prism? Well, if you look at the base, it's a 10 by 9 rectangle. And so we know that a 10 by 9 is not going to be a square. So I'm going to treat that as my base, and then here will be my height between those two bases. And so for surface area, we'd go get our formula, and it's going to be perimeter times height plus 2b. What is my perimeter going to be? Well, my perimeter, SpongeBob SquarePants says it best. He says to bring it around town. So we go to our base and we bring it around town. So my perimeter is going to be equal to 10 plus 10 plus 9 plus 9. That's a four-sided figure. So of course my perimeter on that problem is going to end up giving me, let's see, that should be 38. Let's just make sure. 10 plus 9 plus 9. 38 is my perimeter, in fact. And so there's my perimeter. I'm going to check it off. What is my height between the bases? My height between the bases is 6. And then I want to add, I have since it's surface area, I have the surface area of those bases is going to be a 10 by 9. What is 10 times 9? That's going to give me 90 centimeters squared. So for my base, I've got 2 of those, 90 centimeters squared each. And so then what you're going to do is you're going to do 38 times 6, which is 228. It's going to be 228 plus 180. And what do we get when we do that? We get 408. This is surface area, so it's going to be centimeters squared. Now let's find volume, which is much easier, especially once you've done surface area. And so for volume, we've got our base, we've already calculated right up here. Our base was 90, and we multiplied that by our height between the bases, which was 6. So when you do 90 times 6, what are you going to get? You should get 540. This is volume, so it's going to be centimeters cubed. All right, next up we've got a cone. We've got another cone. So surface area of a cone is going to be pi RL plus pi r squared. Volume is equal to, let's see, base times height divided by 3. So pi r squared times height divided by 3. And you might be wondering, Ms. Hull, you just gave us a cone. Why are we doing another one? It seems like you only have one of each. Well, this is an example where instead of having the height that I need for volume, I have the slant height, which I also need though, and I need that one for surface area. So this just kind of gives you the reverse problem of what we've had so far. And so surface area is going to be equal to pi times the radius, which is 2, times my slanted height, which is 12.2, plus pi times 2 squared. So it's going to be 2 times 12.2 plus 4. It's going to give me a total of 28.4 pi, 28. Y'all, feel like I typed in something wrong. Hold on 1 second. 2 times 12.2 is 24.4 plus 4 gives me 28.4. Yes, so 28.4 pi km squared for surface area. Okay, so what about volume? Well, volume is going to be equal to pi times that radius squared, which is going to be 2 squared. And then we need our height. So how do we find our height? We use Pythagorean theorem. H squared plus 2 squared equals 12.2 squared. So we know that we do 12.2 squared minus 2 squared. We get H is going to be equal to the square root of 144.84. We're just going to leave it like that in our formula until the very end, and we're going to round it at the very, very end. And then since this is a cone, I divide by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Square root of that answer is about 12.03. I'm going to multiply that times 2 squared. I'm going to divide that by 3. So what is that in terms of pi? That's going to be about 16 pi km cubed. And so that's my volume. All right, we have a composite figure. This is going to be the volume of the prism on top plus the volume of the prism on bottom. And we want to find the volume of the composite figure. So we've got this pink shape. I'll do this in blue, actually. We've got this blue smaller prism. And we've got the height of that is here. And then we've got our pink prism. Call that down here with the height here. Okay, so we want to find the volume, which is going to be base times height. So what is the base going to be? This is 5 right here. So this is 5, and then this is 5. That's 5 meters. So what's my base going to be? That's going to be 3 times 5, which is 15 meters squared. So that's going to be base times height, which is going to be 15 times 6 is my height. And then, so 15 times 6 is going to give me 90 meters cubed right here. Well, what's the volume of the bottom prism? It's going to be base times height. 8 times 5 gives me 40. And I multiply that by my height of 5. That is going to give me 200 meters cubed. When I add those together, that gives me 290 meters cubed of volume on this shape, this composite shape. And so a composite shape is where you just compose different figures and you put them together and you add their volumes together if they're stacked on each other. All right, this next part says, given the similar figures below, so immediately start out by knowing that they're similar. That's important. Identify the similarity ratio, surface area ratio, and volume ratio. So went ahead and filled that in like we did before. Similarity ratio is A over B. Surface area ratio is A squared over B squared, and volume ratio is A cubed over B cubed. So then we just need to look at what they give us. They give us a volume ratio. So that's going to be my A cubed over my B cubed. So 343 over 512. We see if that reduces at all. It does not, so we're going to go ahead and fill that in for our volume ratio, 343 over 512. If it reduced, we would. And then I'm going to do the cubed root. If you're not sure how to do that on your calculator, just come ask me. Cubed root of 343 is 7. So similarity ratio is going to be the cubed root of 343 over the cubed root of 512. That's going to give me 7 over cubed root of 512 gives me 8. So 7 over 8 is what my similarity ratio is. And so my surface area ratio is going to be 7 squared over 8 squared, which is 49 over 64. That is all three ratios, fully simplified. All right, again, we have similarity ratios A over B. Surface area is A squared over B squared. Volume is A cubed over B cubed. So what level do they give us? They give us level 2. This is inches squared. So that's going to be my A cubed, or A squared over B squared. That's going to be 144 over 225. You could type that into your calculator just to see if it reduces. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That does simplify to 16 over 25. So where do I fill that in? I fill that in for level 2. I think about this like video games. And so the similarity ratio is going to be the square root of 16 over the square root of 25, which is 4/5. Does that help me? Because if that's A and that's B, I'm going to do 4 cubed over 5 cubed. So 4 cubed is going to give me 64. 5 cubed is going to give me 125. And so here are my 3 levels. And that is the conclusion of Chapter 11, Surface Area and Volume. And I will make a video or 2 for the last, which is stats.